a short lecture on KaʻEhaaakealoha. Ka MANAʻO o ke ia MELE, na ono e HAKU I Hawaii, mau makahike aku nei. Eia hoʻia, e kuipo I ka uka, iu I ka ua MELE, o lili noe I ke anu, o mauna kea uea. I KaʻEhaaakealoha, e kuipo uea. I KaʻEhaaakealoha. So that is the first verse of this MELE, concerning the love story of course, Poliʻahu and her love for Aiwohi Kupua, and at the moment that they separate, and now he's leaving, supposedly to go back to the island of Kauai, to his home, which was Mana on the island of Kauai. And so the words say, Eia hoʻia we kuʻuipo, because this is when she's watching that canoe sail away. Here I am, my beloved, Eia hoʻia we kuʻuipo, I ka uka iu iu, because she's standing at Hamakua, way up above him, looking down, watching this canoe sail away. I ka ua ma'e'ele o Lilinoi, now up at Mauna Kea, I ka ua ma'e'ele o Lilinoi. The cold, drenching rain of the goddess Lilinoi, I ke anu o Mauna Kea, in the cold of Mauna Kea. And this is just a reflection of the loneliness she's feeling, watching the person that she loves sail away on that canoe. As he passes through Hamakua, yeah, from up in Mauna Kea, she's looking, yeah, and there she is in this ma'e'ele, anu ma'e'ele o Lilinoi, and of course Lilinoi, the goddess of the mist, yeah, the goddess that stands as a mea kia'i no Poliʻahu. And this was my ulua ka MANAʻO, my inspiration, e pili ana no ka haku I hoʻono o ke ia MELE, pertaining to why I wrote the song. To take this mo'olelo kahiko, this ancient story, and to share it in a kind of a experience, an emotion that perhaps many people are feeling today. So to take that mo'olelo kahiko and bring it down to a more modern contemporary time, using that ancient story to make the connection to us today, and to share ʻIKE, wisdom, and MANAʻO from that mo'olelo. Eia hoʻia au e kuʻuipo I ka uka iu iu. You know, iu iu already implies a kind of separation. People in the iu iu are at a kind of place that they're very, very high and very, very distant from others. And a lot of that has to do with protocol and kapu and the ancient class system. It reflects a lot. But the iu are people that have been set aside for their aumakua. And their names, yeah, are very, very, very important, because usually in these kinds of people, the name comes from the aumakua. These names are intended only for those people because they are the iu, yeah. They are the selected ones from the aumakua, and their lives are, in a sense, dedicated to the aumakua. So these people are kapu to the aumakua. Now remember, if our akua kupuna have aumakua, then our akua kupuna have genealogy. And so there is a beautiful, long genealogy that connects our ohana all the way up to Illinois and further back. Ana mako no I pulama I huai I ki I mea vai nui ka mo o kuauhau no o ka ohana. And this is something that Kupuna gave to me that I have to mālama, that I have to honor, to respect, and to take care of. And this is why for many, many years, yeah, hele no au ilu no o mauna kea, ma kalamua o ka makahiki hou, hele no au I mauna kea a mahope o ka huaka e hele no I mauna kea a hele no au I mauna loa. Ho kipa au I mauna kea na aku wahine o ke la mauna a pau ka ho kipa ana makala e kahi o ka makahiki hou a hele no au I mauna loa. No ka ho kipa ana, no ka mālama ana, me ka pula, me ka kahea, me ka oli, ina akua wahine o ke la aina o Mauna Loa. So, you know, it was our tradition at the beginning of the year, yeah, when the new year started, to go and visit these places, always to Mauna Kea and then to, of course, Mauna Loa. And in the genealogies, the ohana of, well, first of all, Poliahu and Pele are ohana, but their mo'opuna intermarried again. And this is where our genealogy begins. So, of course, in Kahakuana o Ki'i Mau MELE, I want to honor and respect always those genealogies, the genealogies of our kupuna. Because if that's kuleana, then I gon haku ina mele e pili ana no I ke la kuleana. I'm not going to step outside my kuleana and write about something that's not mine. Ale polole ke la, ale pono. Malama I hoau I ko umau kuleana. Na kuleana no na kupuna kahiko mai a o la no me mako na mo puna I ki ia au huli huli. We're going to take care of those kuleana. So if you look at all the mele that I have written, and if you were to study them, it's about so many things. One foremost being pilina me ka mo'okuauhau. Like I said, if that's my mo'okuauhau na uno ke kuleana o ka mālama I hoana, ka pūlama I hoana I maumea, na ino o nā kūpuna, a haku ia I loko o ka mele, no ka ho'ohano no o lākou. And that is the reason I do this. And the same with this song, KaʻEhaaakealoha. But one more thing about this song. KaʻEhaaakealoha was a name that sometimes Auntie Emma would call me. Auntie Emma DeFries was one of my teachers. You know, rites of passage, yeah. I loko o kahao na kupuna o Hawaii nei. Rites of passage are marked in a very unique and powerful way. No ka mea ai ka olelo ke ola, ai ka olelo ka mana. In the language is life, in the language there is death. The language can bring a blessing, or the language can bring a disaster. And this story was about when Auntie Emma first called me by the name KaʻEhaaakealoha. Amazing, yeah? KaʻEhaaakealoha. Not because love was so painful, but the emotions were so great. That was me. Very emotional, always. Very emotional. And hence the name KaʻEhaaakealoha. And then years after Auntie's passing, the revisiting of that name and that whole time together and why the name was given. KaʻEhaaakealoha. Of course, Auntie gave me kawai kapo kalani. Auntie gave me kalani nui ia mamau. Auntie gave me kaluhia ke aloha. These are special names to mark rites of passage in our relationship that signaled, of course, different movements of my life. When you look back to our ali'i and you wonder why they had so many names, perhaps each one marked an event, a historical event, a historical rite of passage within their lives, where their kupuna, or someone very close to them, would give them these names and then call them to secure that relationship. Pili paano I kele pilina, yeah? O paano I kele pili me lako, and then they would call them by those names. Wow, that's really remarkable. Really remarkable. Weau I KaʻEhaaakealoha. That was me. Like Auntie said, ue oi ina manawa apau. Ue oi I ke la MANAʻO I ki ia MANAʻO. No leila, ana ono I hawino ia oi ki ia INOA. KaʻEhaaakealoha. Because she said, you love so deeply and so great. Yeah? It's not about sadness. It's about aloha and how great aloha is. The way I took care of my family, the way I took care of my responsibilities, the way I took care of my kupuna was about KaʻEhaaakealoha, the greatness of this love. So great, yeah, that it ue, that I cried, because I appreciate. I really did appreciate. He kilohana ko aloha, no kukino ho'oheno, I ka poli, nakahali ali'a, e ho'opu mehana, I ka po meha meha, I po'ole. KaʻEhaaakealoha, e kuipo, uea, I KaʻEhaaakealoha. E kilohana ko aloha no ku'u kino ho'oheno I ka poli. Na ka hāali alia e ho'opumehana I ka pō meha meha I po'ole. First and foremost, that verse again reaffirms the genealogical link to our kupuna ka meha meha pai ea. Yeah? So many connections to ka meha meha pai ea and his makuahine ke kuia apo iwa, ka lawe ia aku I ka hanai no, I ka haopulani, no ka malama ana o ke ia keiki ali'i, he kahu hanai o ia, nānā no e malama me kona aloha I ke ia keiki ali'i o ia hoi o ka meha meha. So we are connected to that story of ka haopulani, and of course Kamehameha, and the ohana, pili no lako ke kahi. And I always want to write that story because it's an important story. Because the tradition of Hanai, yeah, comes down through our families for so many, many generations, you know. KaʻEhaaakealoha, the long breath. Kahapai, being hapai, pregnant with child. Kahanau, the giving birth. And then kahanai, the feeding. And it's a cycle, it goes back to kahaloa. So, he kilohana ko aloha, your love is like a kilohana, the most decorated piece of kapa cloth. And these kilohana kapa were, of course, reserved for our ali'i. And so many layers of kapa cloth, but the top layer is the kilohana, the most decorated piece of tapa cloth. For the blanket, no ka ho'opumehana no o ke kino. And so, but there are some mana'o in all of those words, yeah, because Poliahu was a clairvoyant in a sense. Yeah? They had ʻIKE, amazing ʻIKE. He kilo oia, o kona hana ana no he kilo. Hiki iaia ke ʻIKE ina ho'ailona i ka aina i ka lani. Nui no kona ʻIKE e pili ana no na ho'ailona. And sometimes the ho'ailona come in the moi uhane. I ka pōmehameha ipo ole. Nā nāno oia i loko o ka moi uhane. Ina ho'ailona, ina symbols. E pili ana no ke ia ha'alele aku no o ai wohi kupua. So he kilo ke ia wahine, aia no ia iho ke ia ʻIKE o ka ha'alele ana o ai wohi kupua mai ka moko o Hawaii. I kona ho'i ana no i Hawaii, maupopo o Poliahu, i kona li'a pono i. Hāli'a, maupopo oia kona li'a. Make oia e ho'i no i Maui. Ma Maui pile ana oia me hina i ka malama. Ma Maui no la ua no e ho'au no ke kahi. Ma hana i Maui. Aia no me Poliahu ke ia ʻIKE papalua. Ke ia ku ʻIKE. Nui kona ʻIKE makalihilihi no. And so, that explains the second verse. Yeah, how their love was like this beautiful blanket that she would cherish as she put it on her body. So I use that kapa kilohana to reflect or to try to explain how love, the feeling, the emotion of love, we have different kinds of way of expressing today, but back then, to put on this kapa kilohana, this beautiful kilohana kapa, and hold it and cherish it as if you were holding and embracing your beloved sweetheart. E kilohana ko aloha no ku ukino ho'oheno i ka poli, na ka hāli'a e ho'opumehana. And all of these memories, yeah, bring her that warmth, along with the putting on of this beautiful kilohana. I ka pōmehameha i po'ole when she was all alone. So many reflections in the second verse, so many reflections going in so many different directions. And then back to he ueau I KaʻEhaaakealoha, e kuʻuipo ueau I KaʻEhaaakealoha. And that's about life itself and the different li'a, desires that we have. Yeah, it runs in so many different directions. Yeah, that's being human. That's being human. You know, jealousy, love, those are all emotions that we have. Nothing wrong with the emotions, because we're human. But what we do with them, that may be a point of unsurety. Because if you're jealous of somebody, you say, for instance, you watch a beautiful hula performance and somehow, oh my God, you have this jealous feeling. That's human. That's human. There's nothing wrong with that. Because when we see beauty, we want that beauty. We want to be a part of that beauty. We want to experience that beauty. Two things. You can get mad and do something because of that jealousy, or you can go to an halau and learn how to dance hula and have that same experience. What your choice going to be? Because we deal with all of that. Same with love. Love is no different. It's what we do with that emotion. That is what makes the difference. Yeah? That is really the key to it all. And in the MELE reflecting Poliahu, her tears are tears of love, because already she had the vision of what was going to happen. And with our people, the same way Kekuya Apu Iwa had to give away Kamehameha because it was tradition, and tradition called for that, and she did that. Well, the same with understanding. Because so many people have vision. So many people see into the future. So many people have this clairvoyant mana. So many people like them. But can you honestly deal with it? Can you honestly deal with it? When it comes to loved ones, friends, and family, how you going to bear? How you going to bear the knowing of seeing the future in their lives? Kau mahalo. Kau mahalo. That would be very, very heavy. Very, very heavy. And then it explains INOA KaʻEhaaakealoha. Because Auntie Emma took me because I had vision. ʻIKE makalihilihi. ʻIKE makalihilihi. And remember the story of I was there when Auntie Emma and somebody told her, "Oh, Tita, how come you get all this ʻIKE and we no more ʻIKE?" And Auntie Emma's reply was, if you had that ʻIKE, my dear, you'd be using it to bring people together. That ʻIKE is so powerful. If you want kilo, kaula, kahuna, and you operate makaʻike-lihi-lihi, you can see everything from your eyes. You can see the akaku, you can see the ho'ailona, you can vehevehe ina moi uhana, you get all this ʻIKE. ʻIKE kau mahaloa. That's heavy burden too. That's heavy burden too. Bahai ina mo no ka no ana e pile no ki ia MELE. Food for thought about this MELE and what it's speaking about. Okay, 5-minute break.